Run the damn ball, you say. Well, today we jump into the ITG Film Room to take a look at what Scotty Fox and Michael Hawkins bring to West Virginia's ground game on this episode of In the Gun.
This is an ITG special presentation.
Welcome to it, folks. I'm Jed Drenning, and you are In the Gun. Now, before we get started, first of all, shout out to you guys. We say it all the time, the smartest football viewers in podcast land. Thanks for watching part one in this summer film series where we cover the quarterbacks and the passing game. We really appreciate the support, the comments. We're going to wrap the quarterbacks up today with this run game episode, but then we have a three-part episode upcoming on Cam Cook, the nation's leading rusher. Obviously, a lot to say about a guy like Cam Cook, so we've broken into three parts, but we really do appreciate the comments and the support from the first episode here on the quarterbacks. Now, here's hoping you get something out of this episode too. Every offseason, I pick one special football project and bury myself in it. Through the years, those projects have ranged from John Heacock's twist on the odd stack at Iowa State to Lincoln Riley's guard tackle counter game at Oklahoma to even Pat Narduzzi's quarters defense. When Pitt got back on the schedule, I dove deep into that. Heck, one year, with notebook in hand, I spent the offseason canvassing the college football rule book to brush up on the weird and obscure provisions we hardly ever get to see called. That was my offseason project. Everybody has a hobby, right? Well, I don't birdwatch, and my wife hasn't talked me into pickleball yet, so geeky football pursuits are how I roll. Well, this offseason, I went deep on Coach Rod's run game over the 25 seasons he spent as an FBS play caller. 8 different schools, more than 300 games. Pretty good sample size, right? Specifically, I was looking at how the rush attempts get distributed. One number jumped out hard. Last year was only the 4th time in those 25 seasons that Coach Rod's offense didn't have a quarterback with 100-plus carries. It actually snapped a 6-year streak of him featuring a quarterback with 130 or more rush attempts. 2024 in Morgantown was, of course, an outlier, mostly because of the injury carousel in the quarterback room. But once Scotty Fox settled in to start the final 6 games, he actually went double-digit carries in 5 of those 6 games. And even with all the injuries, WVU's quarterback room at large still handled 41% of West Virginia's rush attempts overall. That's the highest share by his quarterbacks in an offense since 2016 when he was at Arizona. Moral of the story, in this offense, the quarterbacks are going to run the football a lot. You kind of sort of know that already, right? So right after this quick break, we're jumping straight into the ITG Film Room to look at what Michael Hawkins and Scotty Fox might do with those abundant opportunities. So grab a snack and stick around. We'll be right back. You are In the Gun.
From first light to the last job done, you need equipment that works as hard as you do. Coyote tractors deliver the power, precision, and durability to take on any task, big or small. And at Johnston Equipment, it's more than just equipment. It's service you can count on. With a full lineup of Coyote tractors and equipment, we'll help you find the perfect fit for your land, your job, your life. Because when your equipment's built right, everything else falls into place.
Visit Johnston Equipment today and come see the Coyote difference for yourself.
We now return to the ITG Film Room, brought to you by Johnston Equipment.
Welcome back. Yes, the quarterbacks in Coach Rod's system will have plenty of opportunities to impact the West Virginia ground game, but making the most of those chances will hinge on several things, starting with their ability to make big plays with their legs. Now, that's something Michael Hawkins and Scotty Fox have both demonstrated. Hawkins, often as a freelancer, and Fox more often within the design of the call, something we'll discuss here in a bit. But first, let's take a look at both these quarterbacks as difference makers in the running game. Oklahoma on the plains at Auburn 2 years ago. Michael Hawkins was a true freshman pup here, playing in just his 3rd college game and making his first career start. Ball on the left hash early in the first quarter, OU with a 3rd and 5 on their 4th play of the game. The Sooners offer up a trips bunch wide right and single receiver left with Hawkins in the gun. third down and intermediate, a situation that suggests to Oklahoma that Auburn will be bringing pressure, especially against a true freshman signal caller. The Sooners dial up an air raid mesh concept to answer the blitz they anticipate from the Tigers. This is a package that forces man defenders to navigate traffic while offering the quarterback quick answer throws to counter the blitz. 3rd and 5 is a textbook opportunity for air raid teams to run mesh. And Oklahoma guessed right. Auburn is indeed attacking with a 5-man pressure and man coverage behind it. But as the Tigers are about to discover, blitzing with man coverage splattered downfield is dangerous against an athletic quarterback if you can't get home or at least bottle him up at the point of attack. That's why Auburn floats linebacker Eugene Asante shallow with his head on a swivel. Yes, Asante can help choke down any quick-hitting crossing routes, but also, with no man coverage responsibility himself, he has eyes on Mike Hawkins, serving as an extra run stopper, a spy, if the quarterback decides to take off. But when explosive playmakers are involved, things don't always work out on the field the way they were drawn up on the grease board. Hawkins takes the snap and, seeing the blitz, immediately looks for the speed out by Sooners tight end Bauer Sharp to his wide right. Sensing the 2-man gap exchange in front of him by the Auburn edge rusher and Buck linebacker is about to overwhelm his guard and tackle, Hawkins hits the escape hatch and bursts free of the pocket, heading due north. Feeling the traffic around him, he protects the ball with both hands, but by his 3rd step, he realizes he's now a runner and tucks it under his right arm for maximum security. From the wide side of the field, the linebacker Asante, Auburn's spy, sees what's coming and reacts to close ground on Hawkins as the quarterback is escaping upfield. The problem? Asante underestimates Hawkins' explosiveness and loses on the angle, diving at air before eating a mouthful of Bermuda grass. As the 2nd and 3rd level of the Tigers' defense is locked in man coverage with their backs to the football, the rest of the play is all but inevitable. Hawkins springs into the open field in high gear and showcases his speed, easily outrunning the desperate angles of the Auburn DBs, who see him coming far too late. The result of the play is a 48-yard touchdown dash by Hawkins against a Tigers defense that was actually pretty salty against the run, top 10 in the country, in fact, in yards per rush allowed. On this first offensive series and his first college start on the road in front of a rowdy SEC crowd of 88,000, Michael Hawkins showed a lot. Decisiveness against the blitz on a pressure down, ball security, elite vision in space, and the killer instinct great runners have, seizing on a glimpse of daylight offered up by a defense that blinked first. West Virginia on the road at Houston. A lot of pre-snap confusion by the Cougars as they scramble to get lined up against the Mountaineer offense on a critical 4th down and 4 last year in the final quarter. WVU goes empty with an offline tight end to the left. Houston offers up 5 high on the back end with soft man coverage across the board and a 2-man bracket on Cam Vaughn in the slot to the boundary. This leaves the Cougars with 6 across the line of scrimmage, but only 3 defenders between the tackles, presenting a soft interior with an overloaded pressure teed up from the field side. Scotty Fox knows where he's going before he barks his cadence. Fox takes the shotgun snap and with one jab step breaks into the 2nd level. With the defensive line quickly in his wake and the Houston secondary scattered like buckshot in man coverage, Fox races 34 yards for a West Virginia touchdown, the longest run by a quarterback against the Cougars defense in 3 years. Fox took the snap and slipped inside the double team on Houston war daddy Carlos Allen, crossing into the open void in the Houston defense and swatting away the only Cougar to get a hand on him. He wastes no time getting north into the end zone. A strong run by Fox in a super crucial situation that helped lift West Virginia to a ranked win on the road for the first time since 2018. You know, there's a lot to be said for a quarterback's ability to freelance with the football and jump off script, especially if that sometimes means rescuing his offense from a bad play. But the lifeblood of any productive ground game is consistency, and that's more likely to happen within the framework and design of the play call. Last year, West Virginia was 3rd in the country with the number of designed quarterback runs, they called. Only Utah and Georgia Tech dialed up the quarterback by design more often than the Mountaineers. Scotty Fox was at the controls for many of those calls and acquitted himself well, carrying the football 50 times for 224 yards on such plays. Despite a less than ideal offensive ecosystem around him on a team marred by injuries, Fox proved to be a disciplined runner within West Virginia's scheme, hitting the designed gap created on the play nearly 70% of the time, according to Sports Info Solutions, the 8th best mark among all Big 12 runners at any position. Michael Hawkins, meanwhile, was dealing with his own challenges at Oklahoma 2 years ago during his most significant stint as a college quarterback. He was playing behind a very porous offensive line. The Sooners' offense got knocked backwards on TFLs 7.7 times a game. That was the worst in the SEC, and they failed to average 4 yards per rush for the first time since 2010. Within the defective framework of that OU air raid offense, Hawkins carried the ball on designed quarterback runs just 27 times in 8 games spread over 2 years, averaging a modest 3.7 yards a pop. But the wiggles and the flashes were there even in those limited carries as Hawkins broke 6 tackles and forced 2 more defenders to miss. You get the feeling that after spending 2 years on the prairie as a tackling dummy, watching Hawkins get inserted into Coach Rod's scheme behind Trickett's newly chiseled offensive line might be like seeing Bryce Harper slide the donut off the bat. We're going to get to the ad-lib ability of these guys to close out the episode, but first let's hop back into the ITG Film Room for a peek at what Fox and Hawkins will be asked to do a lot this year, tote the football on designed runs within the structure of the offense. West Virginia hosting Colorado last year, facing a 3rd and 7 in Buffs territory. WVU is going to ultimately run the football back into the boundary with a pulling guard and running back helping lead the way. The Mountaineers do have pass attachments built in here, including a bubble screen to the wide side. But Scotty Fox doesn't like the numbers on the perimeter and opts for the keep portion of the play. He sticks it up through the alley and bounces outside, making his way down inside the 30-yard line for a Mountaineer first down. When Fox took the snap, the perimeter screen to his right was on the table. If WVU held a 3-on-2 advantage to that side, he would have flipped it out on the screen and let his receivers go to work. But when he read the aggressive downhill posture of the Colorado safety to the trip side, he decided against the screen and in favor of the keep. A quick decision that flipped the numbers back in WVU's favor into the boundary. Nice read and solid execution by Scotty Fox, making the most of the options available to put the offense in a position of advantage and move the sticks for West Virginia. Oklahoma hosting Kent State 2 years ago, 2nd down at midfield with the ball on the left hash. The Sooners wrap around the tight end from the backside to help clear the way on the second level as they dial up a zone read with Michael Hawkins focused on the unblocked boundary end as the conflict defender. You know the drill by now with the zone read concept. Hawkins rides the mesh, and if the end steps upfield, he gives it to the back. If the end crashes, Hawkins pulls it and takes off on the perimeter behind the looping tight end. As read keys go, this edge defender makes it easy for Oklahoma, collapsing clearly inside as Hawkins pulls the football and quickly hits the edge. Coming across to lead the way, the Sooners tight end doesn't adjust in space against the Kent defender and whiffs, but Hawkins takes advantage of the angles and cuts inside of the missed block to find daylight upfield. Cheat code activated. Hawkins turns on the jets and slices his way all the way down inside the 25 before being forced out of bounds. This 27-yard jaunt by Hawkins is beautiful in its simplicity. Watching him flawlessly execute a concept ripped straight out of Coach Rod's playbook like this one is an enticing glimpse into what he might be capable of in the West Virginia offense. First quarter in Provo, West Virginia goes formation into the boundary, creating some open space to the field so Scotty Fox can work the old-school option game to the wide side. His read key is the unblocked end man on the line of scrimmage, BYU's Isaiah Glasker. Now, I remember seeing Glasker on the field out there during pregame last year, and that dude's a specimen. Fox is going to secure the snap and attack downhill toward the outside hip of his tackle as running back Dior Hubbard works to maintain his 5x2 pitch relationship with his quarterback, 5 yards behind him, 2 yards out. As Fox presses the hip of the tackle, Glasgow shuffles out toward the hash in response to Hubbard in the pitch position. Fox cuts it up and darts through the open door before bouncing outside and finding a clear path through the Cougars' defense, finally getting wrapped up inside the 35 after a nifty pickup of 20-plus yards. The end zone angles show us what Fox was seeing. West Virginia blocks down, and Fox executes the read, cutting straight upfield as Glasgow slides outside toward Hubbard. Fox was bent on heading due north to gobble up the open grass in front of him, but the second he sees BYU safety Raider DeMooney slip as he's flying up in run support, that changes in a flash. A new crease is created, and Fox reacts immediately, cutting on his next step to bounce outside the hash and attack the void created by DeMooney's fall. Great execution and a nice reaction to a blunder by the defense on the part of Scotty Fox, being an athlete. Oklahoma hosting Maine 2 years ago. The Sooners with a split zone concept here, using the defensive front's alignment against them. Bringing the motion back toward the field to secure the edge defender gives OU a numbers advantage as Michael Hawkins pulls the football and breaks containment to the wide side. The issue here is, yes, the Bears' end is accounted for by the scheme, but because of the angles, he maintains outside leverage on the OU tight end blocking him, and Hawkins is breaking that way with the football to the outside. Hawkins will need to outrun the main defender around the end, but the challenge comes in how little room he has to do so, as he'll need to get to the perimeter, then break sharply upfield before he reaches the Oklahoma receiver and Bears safety scrapping outside the hash. Hawkins turns on the Jets, separating from the edge defender who is chasing him. Then, just outside the hash, he plants a toe in the dirt and cuts on a dime, shifting his balance and pushing himself upfield just inside the main safety, who is desperately reaching for him as he makes his way by. Hawkins picks up another block and is finally wrestled down in the red zone after a slippery gain of 20 yards. West Virginia in its opener last year against Robert Morris. With the ball on the right hash, the Mountaineers beef up a little here with 12 personnel, parking two tight ends in side-by-side wing spots to the field. On the snap, WVU is going to throw a lot of moving parts at the Colonials, sending both tight ends to pave the way wide while bringing the left guard and tackle pulling back into the boundary. This leaves Scotty Fox focused on the field end as his read key. If the end crashes or follows the pulling tackle down the line, Fox gives to Ty Edwards heading wider on the left end. If the end steps upfield or hesitates, Fox pulls the ball from the mesh and darts around the right end, letting his pulling lineman pave the way into the short side. As one of multiple read elements in the Rich Rodriguez run game, when the quarterback's eyes are right with this concept, the defense will always be wrong. Fox takes the snap and studies the Robert Morris end. The defender's first three steps are due north before he shuffles flat-footed toward Edwards. Fox knows the end is in no position to defend his keep, so he pulls it and bursts toward the perimeter into the boundary. West Virginia has the numbers here to match heads and spring Fox into the second level. The only defender left to make a play on the quarterback will be the Colonials' free safety. It will be up to Fox himself to get past him, and he does with a nasty stiff arm that sends him flying to the turf. On just his third snap as a college signal caller, Scotty Fox showed the stage isn't too big for a quarterback with the composure and athletic ability to execute a high-level read in front of 60,000 fans, then parlay it into a huge play. A big part of what makes Coach Rod's run game click is his offense's capacity to weaponize numbers, angles, and grass. And that can only happen when directed by a quarterback who can process things quickly and showcase the running ability needed to force a defense to play 11-on-11 football. Both Scotty Fox and Michael Hawkins have shown themselves capable of leaning into the scheme and making the most of the ample opportunities this offense provides in the designed quarterback run game. Think back to some of the most memorable runs you've seen Mountaineer quarterbacks make. Which ones jump to mind? Major's shake and bake against Penn State to reach the end zone in 1988? Pat White obviously had his share. How about when he parted the Red Sea to race 50 yards and beat Louisville in 2007? Or maybe even Jarrett Brown's crazy 40-yard scamper to pay dirt in relief of White in 2006 against that 13th-ranked Rutgers team. Remember that one on that cold night in Morgantown? All those runs by West Virginia quarterbacks had at least two things in common. They all produced great memories and big wins, and they were all off script on plays that for one reason or another broke down, forcing them to wing it and make something happen out of whole cloth. Now, as a guy who's been to his share of games in Morgantown, I've grown convinced that maybe the only thing that can lift Mountaineer fans out of their seat faster than a big hit is some improvisational voodoo by their quarterback. Trust me, play calling's a tough gig. Sometimes the X's and O's go sideways. Things don't always go as designed, and sometimes even when they do, one or more of those pesky villains on defense show up and make a great play, putting you squarely behind the 8-ball. As such, it's almost impossible to quantify the value of a guy who can bail you out, a quarterback who can turn a few of those wins by the defense upside down and make magic happen for your offense, a wizard who can find a dirty nickel on the sidewalk and presto, turn it into a crisp sawbuck. This might be the most fundamental difference in the disposition of Scotty Fox and Michael Hawkins as runners, or at least it has been. A lot can change over an off-season, but as the disciplined runner we detailed earlier, Scotty Fox hasn't tended to take as many chances on the ground. His answer to pressure in the pocket hasn't been to activate his legs, but to use his eyes and his arm in the quick game. By and large, it's proven effective for him. Fox's PFF big-time throw rate under pressure was 9.8 last year. That was second best in the Big 12. Sticking around to throw the football, not run it, was Fox's typical response in these situations. The numbers support this. You can look at Pro Football Focus or at Sports Info Solutions. They both say the same thing. Fox scrambled to run the football on pass plays just 5 times all year, easily the fewest by a Big 12 quarterback with 175 or more dropbacks. He did so at a rate of just once every 38 times he dropped back to throw. In fact, the raw numbers indicate only 2 quarterbacks in college football scrambled less than Fox. Compare that to Michael Hawkins in 2024 with the Sooners. Remember, both quarterbacks were almost constantly under pressure, but how they offset it was patently different. While Fox deployed his arm, Hawkins leaned on his speed. In 160 dropbacks, Hawkins, again, this is from Sports Info Solutions, scrambled 26 times for a chunky average of 6.9 yards per rush. On those 26 scrambles, he forced 14 missed tackles and broke 3 more. Throw all those numbers into a pot and stir, and you come up with a rate of 1 scramble by Hawkins on average every 6 to 7 times he dropped back to throw. Put another way, Hawkins has been almost 6 times more likely under pressure to hit the escape hatch and scramble than Scotty Fox. As you'll see here in the film room, Fox was selective when he improvised with his feet in these situations, and he made it count. Hawkins, meanwhile, did it with enough regularity to provide an impressive sample size, and it was fun to watch. Let's jump to the 2024 Armed Forces Bowl for a sequence of 3rd and longs with Oklahoma facing Navy. It won't take you long to see a pattern emerge here. Let's start with OU facing a 3rd and 10 in the first quarter with the ball in the left hash. No trickery here by Navy. They go 3 down with their front kick to the field and telegraph their intentions to play coverage behind it, keeping one linebacker in to help monitor Sooners quarterback Michael Hawkins. The Sooners receivers run a series of stick routes, pushing vertical to the first down marker before offsetting to try and find open holes in the Navy zone. Navy's well drilled and scatters defenders across the line to gain. Hawkins doesn't like his first look downfield and quickly escapes the pocket into a patch of daylight that flashes in front of him. The spying Navy backer tries to react, but is ineffective and barely gets a glove on the twitchy quarterback, who bounces outside using his speed to set up 2 more blocks and easily getting past the marker for an Oklahoma first down. What made this effort by Hawkins so remarkable was that Navy was in zone coverage with 11 sets of eyes on the football, including linebacker Kyle Jacob in his spy role. This is a guy with 100 tackles. Sooners right guard Fabechi Nwayu has eyes on Jacob, but Hawkins isn't looking for help. He literally takes matters into his own hands with a lightning-quick cut between his blocker and the Navy defender to escape outside and work magic with his feet on the perimeter to move the sticks for the Sooners. Now let's jump to another 3rd and 10 for Oklahoma, this one late in the first half with the ball spotted in the middle of the field. Against Oklahoma's empty set, Navy again rolls with a 3-man front, though this time they send the middle backer into coverage for a true drop 8. Once more, Navy will be in zone coverage, which means a ton of eyes on Michael Hawkins in the pocket, typically making it tougher to escape and get downfield. As Hawkins takes the shotgun snap, the Navy back end scatters to their landmarks. Hawkins watches OU's route concept unfold and gives it 2 beats, waiting to see if a target might break open in the second window, but they don't. Instead, Hawkins sees way too many white jerseys and makes a snap decision to cut and run into the open grass to his right. The Navy defense rallies toward the ball, but they might as well be trying to nail Jell-O to a brick wall. Hawkins ducks inside a Navy edge rusher, then steers clear of a linebacker in pursuit and bounces outside another diving midshipman before slipping past the sticks for an OU first down. 3 different defenders thought they had Hawkins tracked down, but all 3 failed. Now let's jump ahead to watch Oklahoma facing a 3rd and 11 to start the 4th quarter. After watching Hawkins punish them all day for dropping numbers into coverage, Navy decides to switch things up here and force the issue with a 6-man pressure. On the back end, the midshipmen kick a safety over to man up the short side slot, accounting for nickel blitzer Deshaun Peel vacating that side as part of the pressure package. This essentially lands Navy in cover 0, true man across the board with no deep help. When a defense rolls the dice with a cover 0 blitz, their imperative is to get home with the pressure or at least find a way to impact the play by the quarterback. If they don't, something wicked is usually coming their way. This is actually a great call by Navy defensive coordinator P.J. Volker, and for that matter, a well-executed blitz by the Middies, springing their nickelback Peel untouched through B-gap right into the quarterback's face. On the grease board, this should have been a sack. But grease boards don't account for freakish athletic instincts, and that's what Michael Hawkins showcases here to escape this. Peel had a 20-yard head of steam buildup and came screaming through the open gap untouched at full speed with Hawkins dead in his sights. But Hawkins used the momentum against him. Like a matador dodging a bull, Hawkins launched into a quick sidestep that sent Peel careening past him onto the sod. Hawkins impulsively moved to his left as the edge of the pass rush to that side folded. And this is where the real danger arrives for Navy. Missing on the blitz left their secondary scattered man coverage, chasing Sooner receivers into a different zip code downfield, leaving a massive chunk of exposed real estate that Hawkins took advantage of immediately. He easily raced upfield, moving into Navy territory and crossing the sticks before safely ducking out of bounds with another Oklahoma first down on 3rd and long. West Virginia at Houston trying to build on their fast start, facing a 3rd and 7 with the ball on the right hash. What happens here before the snap is going to contribute to the opportunity Scotty Fox will end up seizing as a runner. Houston is actually in cover 1, man free. Cougars linebacker Corey Platt starts off as a box player between the tackles, but you see him communicating with the safety, deciding who's going to match heads over Cam Vaughn in the slot to the right. The safety directs Platt to kick out and take Vaughn in man coverage, and he does. What's interesting here is formationally, this is a little trick Coach Rod started tinkering with at Tulane back in the 90s. WVU goes empty by pushing running back Dior Hubbard out wide into the boundary to see if the defense takes the bait by wasting a cornerback on him. Houston does so by assigning corner Zelmar Vetter, one of their better coverage assets, to the running back in man, which indirectly leaves them putting the linebacker Platt on Vaughn in the slot, a mismatch in West Virginia's favor. But Platt kicking out over top Vaughn also leaves the box empty, which will matter here in a minute. Scotty Fox takes the shotgun snap and starts to survey his route options downfield. But Houston has no second-level defender in the box, and when a crease opens up in Houston's 5-man pass rush, Fox sees defenders turning to run with their man coverage assignments, oblivious to him tucking the football and sprinting past the line of scrimmage. Fox sidesteps the Cougs' edge defender, who is trying to recover to make the tackle, then dives past the sticks to secure the first down. Incredibly alert and decisive play by Scotty Fox, keeping alive a drive that would result in a West Virginia touchdown and a 14-0 lead in this win over a ranked team. It's one of the most iconic plays ever caught on camera by NFL films. If you're of a certain age, you recognize as soon as you see it Dolphins wide receiver Nat Moore many years ago hauling in a Dan Marino pass before he's sent spinning like a helicopter blade by 2 New York Jets defensive backs. It was a bold play by Moore, holding onto the ball and acting with such reckless abandon toward his own body. And it was the kind of super cool thing that sticks with you decades after seeing it. which is why I smiled wide when these next few escapades by Michael Hawkins at Oklahoma had me reminiscing over that spin cycle catch by Nat Moore decades ago. Because maybe the only thing crazier than putting one play like this on tape is doing it twice.
On 3rd and goal, Hawkins escapes and goes head over heels. Touchdown, Oklahoma. The young fella down in the field paid a heavy price but made an acrobatic move there. Wow.
This kid's your quarterback. This is what it's all about right here. This kid is fighting for every inch. What a job of improvising and then holding on to the football as he goes.
Oklahoma with the football, 3rd and goal with the Tennessee 2. The Sooners go trips into the boundary, but motion tight end Bauer Sharp across, clearing the way for running back Javonte Barnes to work his way up the rail on a wheel route into the short side. The motion forces the Vols defense to get their wires crossed, and they don't match off to the field. Tennessee safety Will Brooks gets turned around as both him and cornerback Jermod McCoy chase the crosser, leaving Sharp uncovered in the flat to the wide side. But Sooners quarterback Michael Hawkins isn't going to be afforded the time to see this, or anything else for that matter, as both Vols edge rushers run the hump and quickly converge on the pocket. Hawkins senses the pressure and steps up, securing the football and breaking for the outside. A Vols backer flies up to seal off the perimeter, forcing Hawkins back inside where there's no clear path forward. But Hawkins won't be denied. Without flinching, he leaps over the nearest defender, and as he does, he gets chopped into a midair somersault by 315-pound D lineman Bryson Eason before violently smacking down on the goal line, square on his back. This frenetic chain of events started with something Hawkins grew accustomed to behind a very leaky Oklahoma offensive line: poor protection. All told, Hawkins was under pressure in 2024 on 43% of his dropbacks, the highest rate in the SEC. One of the culprits this time around was Oklahoma's Jacob Sexton, who 2 years ago had the lowest pass pro grade in the Southeastern Conference on true pass sets. Here, he quickly gets beat off the edge by Tennessee's Joshua Josephs. Hawkins, trying to read the wheel route into the boundary, has no chance to stick around. He steps up to avoid the pressure and does the only thing he can to give his team a shot, transforming this 3rd down into a play you'd see on the Sandlot. Hawkins shakes and bakes, and into the air he goes, working his magic. The ball was actually ruled just shy of the goal line here, but that doesn't detract from the incredible effort and athleticism put on display by Hawkins. Oklahoma on the road at Auburn, lining up to go for 2 here to try and extend their lead. The Tigers are showing pressure, and the Sooners are hoping to work a short high-low concept into the boundary, maybe even creating a rub to get something cheap in the quick game. But Auburn has something else in mind. On the snap, the Tigers rush only 3 and drop 8 into coverage. Windows for the quarterback already grow considerably tighter as the field shrinks this far down in the red zone. But when a defense drops 8 into the end zone with eyes on the football, easy access throws are off the table. Michael Hawkins takes the snap and diagnoses this dilemma after 2 quick beats and hits the escape hatch. The shortest path between the quarterback and the goal line is a straight line. Hawkins immediately heads due north, but quickly encounters an Auburn linebacker standing guard in the pit. With suddenness that almost looks like an illusion, Hawkins stops dead and kicks back, reversing course and breaking out to the right as he slips past the reach of 6'6" Tigers edge rusher Keldrick Falk. He finds clear sailing inside the 5 before hitting a traffic jam with 4 Auburn defenders converging on him. Sometimes the only way through is over. At the 3-yard line, Hawkins plants a toe in the ground and goes airborne, launching his 203-pound frame 15-plus feet through the air before bouncing to the ground just past the pylon for a successful conversion. Both of these plays by Hawkins are the definition of making something out of nothing. Each demonstrates the intensity Michael Hawkins brings to bear when trying to will his offense into the end zone. All right, folks, that's going to put a wrap on our two-part series on West Virginia's 2026 quarterbacks. But stay tuned in a big way, because as we mentioned earlier, just around the corner, we jump back into the ITG Film Room to investigate the considerable skills of running back Cam Cook, the nation's rushing champion, who this year, of course, will be toting the rock for the old gold and blue. That Cam Cook series will be a three-parter, a lot of information in that, and you really won't want to miss it. But before you get back to the real world, please remember, do us a big favor and like, comment, and subscribe. Just takes a second. Hit that sub button. And trust me, keep those comments coming. That kind of support really matters, and it really helps what we do here. Thanks for watching and or listening. And remember to be an ear and tell an ear about your new favorite WVU football podcast. Yeah, it's still new even after all these years. You've been in the gun.
The fun doesn't have to stop here.
Be sure to hit subscribe and never miss an episode.
This mission is over. It's over.